Have you ever tried to use a potentiometer in your Arduino project but didn't quite understand how it worked? Well, your problems end today. This is lesson 9 of our 24-part Arduino for Beginners series, and in this class I will explain to you how potentiometers work, how to connect them to your Arduino, and how to actually use them in your projects. As always, you'll finish with a hands-on project so you can practice what you've just learned. Sounds good? Then let's get started. Back in lesson 4, we talked about resistors and how they control the flow of current. If you haven't watched that one yet, I highly recommend you go back first because today's component built directly on that concept. A resistor has a fixed resistance value, but a potentiometer is basically a resistor that you can adjust by turning a little knob. If you take a closer look at the potentiometer, you'll see that it has 3 pins. One pin usually goes to VCC, positive voltage, the other pin usually goes to ground, and the middle pin is called the whipper. The middle pin is special. It slides along a resistive track inside the potentiometer, and depending on how much you turn the knob, the whipper picks up a different voltage between 0 volts and the supply voltage. That's the key idea. A potentiometer doesn't directly change current the way I explained for our resistors. What it really does is give you a variable voltage output on the middle pin, and that is exactly what makes it useful for Arduino. Since Arduino can read analog voltages, we can use the potentiometer as an input device, a way to control things interactively. For example, turning the knob might change the brightness of a LED, adjust the volume of a buzzer, or move a servo to a different position. So, to sum up in simple words, the resistor has one resistance value. The potentiometer is a variable resistor that gives you a change in voltage on the middle pin. The Arduino board can read that voltage and use it in your program. That's all you really need to know before we dive into today's project. Before we jump into the hands-on part, I want to thank today's sponsor, GF Robot. GF Robot provides me with the Mind Plus Arduino coding kit, which is the exact kit I'm using in this 24-part series. This kit has everything a beginner needs to take their first steps into Arduino, from the Arduino Uno to modules and sensors. I've been using the products for a while and I can honestly say that the quality is excellent. So if you want to follow along with this series or start your own project, check out the link in the description to grab the same kit. Big thanks to GF Robot for making STEAM education more accessible to everyone. Alright, let's put the potentiometer to work. In today's project, we'll use it to control the color of an RGB LED. Here's the idea. If you turn the knob a little, the LED will turn red. Turn it more and the LED will switch to green. Turn it to the far end and it will switch to blue. It's like using the potentiometer as a color selector switch. I know, we've been doing a lot of LED projects, but trust me, this one is worth it. And soon we will move on to more advanced modules. For this project you need the Arduino Uno board, the input-output expansion shield, the RGB LED module, the potentiometer module, also called as rotation sensor, and some wires. After you grab everything, assembly is simple. Place the input-output expansion shield on top of your Arduino. Connect the RGB LED module to port 2. Connect the potentiometer to port A5. That's it. If you prefer, you can also check the wiring diagram that's appearing on the screen to make sure everything is correct. Now let's take a look at the code. You can find the full version in the GitHub repository of this course. Link is in the description. So go ahead and copy and paste it in your Arduino IDE. But before you click upload, let's break it down together. In the first part, we define the variables as well as start the communication with the RGB module using the NeoPixel library. Inside the loop function, we read the potentiometer position. This gives us a number between 0 and 1023, with 0 meaning no voltage and 1023 meaning 5 volts. In this case, if you turn the rotation sensor all the way left, it gets near 0. Turn it all the way right and it gets 1023. Sometimes, even when the knob is fully left, the reading doesn't land exactly on 0. That's why we create a threshold. If the value is less than 50, we just turn the LED off and exit the program. This makes the off position more reliable. After that, that, we use the map function. The map function is like a translator. It takes a number from one range and converts it to another. In this case, we map the potentiometer range into 3 sections, 0, 1, or 2. Depending on which section we are in, we set the LED to red, green, or blue. The set color helper function updates the color of the LED according to the potentiometer output. So the potentiometer acts like a selector switch. Turn it a little and gets red. Turn it more to turn on the green light. Turn it further to activate the blue LED. And of course, when you rotate it back, it goes back through the colors. What is cool here is that this is just the beginning. Instead of 3 sections, you could split it into 5, 6, or even 10. Or instead of jumping between colors, you could smoothly fade from one color to the next. That is the power of combining potentiometers with Arduino. Before we wrap up, I want to share some exciting news. I've been working on creating a paid online masterclass where we'll build a drone using Arduino. This won't be for complete beginners. It's aimed at people who already understand the basics and want to take their Arduino skills to the next level. In this program, you'll combine Arduino with 3D printing, custom PCBs, and more advanced electronics. I will also provide all the files you need so you can follow along and build the drone at home. If it sounds interesting, I created a waiting list. The link is in the description. Sign up there and I will notify you as soon as the course launches. And that's it for today's class. You just learned how potentiometers work, how to connect them to Arduino, and how to use them in a real project. In the next lesson, we'll talk about light sensors. That's going to be very important because by lesson 13, we will start building our very first big project of the series. Thanks again to the Robot for sponsoring this lesson, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned something new. I will see you in the next class coming very soon.